El video que decía mi compa Johnny Harris era este, güey, de qué fue lo que pasó cuando llega Europa a decir, ¿sabes qué? Una parte para acá y otra parte para acá y chingan a su madre todos a la verga, güey.
Launched their attack.
Nomás que este es en su otro canal que se llama Search Party. Search Party. Fiesta de búsqueda.
Inside Israel on October 7th, 2023, because it was a significant anniversary for them. Exactly 50 years and one day before Egyptian.
Entonces, el tema de que Gaza, ahorita lo que estamos diciendo del 7 de octubre, el ataque que hicieron el 7 de octubre, era una fecha importante, porque pues hace 50 años fue que los habían invadido.
And Syrian troops launched a surprise invasion into Israel, sparking one of the most significant wars in the 8 decades of conflict here between Arabs and Israelis.
The fighting broke out during the most important religious holidays of the year for both Jews and Arabs. For the Jews, it was Yom Kippur.
A coalition of Arab countries united behind Egypt and Syria. They sent them weapons, soldiers, and even weaponized their oil supply.
They will reduce...
Todos esos países árabes dijeron, a ver, Europa, tú no tienes ningún derecho a venir aquí a sacar a gente y decir que es un país para otra gente, vete a la verga, güey. Entonces declaran guerra, güey, Egipto y Siria, y los demás países apoyándolos, ¿no? Con armas, con dinero, lo que tú quieras.
They sent them weapons, soldiers, and even weaponized
porque escuché como que se me traban los audífonos. What in the fuck?
their oil supply.
They will reduce oil production by 5% a month until the Israelis withdraw from occupied territories.
But after Hamas's surprise attack in October 2023, none of the Arab states sent their armies in to help. After Hamas's surprise attack in October,
Israelis withdraw from occupied reduce oil production.
Entonces, ¿te fijas? Todo el tema de la zona se reduce al petróleo. O sea, sus cartas para negociar es el petróleo que tienen, ¿no?
By 5% a month until the Israelis withdraw from occupied territories.
But after Hamas's surprise attack in October 2023, none of the Arab states sent their armies in to help. Some countries voiced support. Syria called Hamas's attack an honorable achievement, but others initially condemned them. The UAE called the attack a serious and grave escalation.
Eso fue lo que a mí se me hacía raro en todo este conflicto, güey. Decía yo, a ver, si se supone que todos estos están en contra y la verga y los apoyan, ¿por qué están permitiendo que todo este cagadero siga pasando, güey? Que bueno, como dije ahorita, va el petróleo, pues me imagino que todo sigue amarrado al petróleo, güey. Pero, ¿por qué? O sea, ¿cómo está la negociación? ¿Por qué estos países harían trato con su enemigo, que es Israel? Pues que están obteniendo a cambio, ¿no?
And some walked a fine line between the two. Egypt asked for exercising maximum restraint, and Saudi Arabia called for an immediate cessation of the escalation.
O sea, hace 50 años, todos esos países, pues estaban en la punta de la flecha para atacar a la verga, güey. ¿Y por qué ahora, que tienen una buena excusa para ir a defender a la gente, güey, por qué no están entrando, güey?
Weeks later, as Israel kills thousands of Palestinians in Gaza, the Arab governments are still divided and on the sidelines. But their people are demanding that they do more to make Israel stop. And it's making these Arab governments nervous.
There must be
Entonces la gente, güey, pues se está quejando, ¿no, güey? Oye, a ver, ¿por qué verga mi país, que se supone que apoyamos, o sea, somos árabes y la verga, güey? ¿Por qué verga no estamos haciendo nada, güey? Están haciendo un cagadero estos vatos, güey. ¿Qué rollo? O sea, Israel se está pasando de verga, pues.
absolutely
¿Por qué no hay
great
acción?
concerns that this popular resentment can easily go sideways.
So, what changed? How did these countries go from being united against Israel for decades to divided today?
O sea, antes estaban esperando el momento para entrar a echar vergazos. Porque ahora no.
The new Jewish state is born in the tense atmosphere of civil war.
In 1947, the UN worked with Britain, partitioned this region into two new countries, one for Jews and one for Palestinian Arabs. The Jewish inhabitants accepted the deal and declared their new state of Israel. But when Palestinians rejected the deal and declared war, a coalition of Arab states joined them.
Haganah troops search for Arabs after capturing the city. Arab strong points are taken after being blasted to rubble.
They were very concerned by the arrival of mainly European Jews.
Wael al-Zayat worked on Middle East policy for 10 years at the U.S. State Department.
The Arab world was in the midst of fighting against British and French, largely, colonialism of the...
O sea, porque la gente que estaba llegando, pues no era la misma gente que hacía miles de años habían sacado, ¿verdad? Que verga, pues eran la descendencia de 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 la descendencia. No sé cuántas descendencias, pero de seguro hubo muchas. Entonces se quejaban los árabes de, hey, ¿qué huele la verga? Esta gente que me está metiendo aquí, qué rollo, no, porque su religión dice que aquí deben de vivir, se la verga.
The Arab world. The Arab world was like, wait a minute. We're getting rid of that European colonialism, but there seems to be another form of it establishing itself here.
So they fought the Israelis for several months until both sides signed an armistice, freezing the battle lines. Israel had taken over all this land, leaving just these two territories under Arab control.
Nos vemos, Keiros. No sé si hace cuánto me mandaste ese mensaje o si lo acabas de mandar, ¿verdad? Pero no echamos rato, güey. Ah, mira, lo acabas de mandar, güey. Salud, my friend. No echamos rato, güey. Si le quieres caer al Alcatraz, ahí andamos, my friend. Ahí andamos, güey. Modo PvP. Modo PvP. PvP.
The West Bank and the Gaza Strip. 20 years later, Israel sparked another war and gained even
hay poquita gente, ¿va? Entonces no hay tanto pedo realmente.
more territory. In response, the Arab leaders, through an organization called the Arab League, made a pact.
La Liga Árabe.
In response, the Arab leaders, through an organization called the Arab League.
O sea, que vienen siendo todos estos países de aquí. ¿Te fijas? Todavía no llegamos a ese tema, ¿verdad? Pero ¿y para acá qué rollo? ¿Para acá qué rollo? Son árabes también, ¿no? Vienen siendo Afganistán, Pakistán, Irán. ¿Qué rollo? Porque yo también no entendía esa parte, güey. ¿Por qué si toda esta gente es árabe? ¿Por qué están divididos? O sea, en ciertas cosas, va, obviamente, pues. Y ya luego entendí un poquito por qué. Creo que en este video van a explicar. Creo que te lo van a explicar.
No peace with Israel, no recognition of Israel, and no negotiations with Israel.
Esto es lo que decía ahorita, ahorita hace rato. Entonces, toda esta gente dijo, ¿sabes qué? A la verga. Y no saqué la basura, güey. Goddammit. Fuck. Entonces, bueno, toda esta gente, todos estos árabes, acordaron de que, ok, no hay acuerdo, güey. Nosotros no reconocemos a Israel, no hay acuerdo y que se vayan a la verga todos. Everybody fuck
Israel
you.
returned land back
Everybody
to the
fuck you.
In 1973, Egypt and Syria launched that surprise attack against Israel, starting the Yom Kippur War. But Israel again took over more territory, prompting one Arab leader to break ranks. Egypt's president, Anwar Sadat, met with...
Entonces, Israel se siguió chingando a Egipto, güey. O sea, le chingó una parte y luego un poquito más, ¿sí me entiendes? Se le fue metiendo, güey. Entonces, ahí fue cuando Egipto, pues dice, ¿sabes qué? Bueno, pues hacemos un trato.
with the leaders of Israel and the U.S. to hash out a peace deal.
For
Jimmy
Egypt,
Carter.
it was
El Jimmy
suffering a lot
Carter.
of casualties, was suffering economically. Sadat made a calculation that it was in the long-term interest of Egypt to make a peace treaty that ended formal warfare with Israel.
Sadat offered to
Necesito tener esta
recognize
madre que
Israel
se quite.
as a legitimate state in exchange for Israel giving back the Sinai Peninsula. He then turned to the Palestinian issue. He got Israel to agree on which countries would be present at future negotiations and outlined plans for a future Palestinian government. But he didn't get them to give any land back to Palestinians. After the US incentivized Egypt with military aid and Israel with oil, they signed.
Entonces, Estados Unidos mete mano, petróleo para Israel, armas para Egipto, y le regresas esto. Parte del acuerdo era ok, o sea, hay que darle a los palestinos su parte, y pues toda esta gente tiene que tener permiso para opinar, güey, para estar en la mesa de las opiniones, a la verga, güey. ¿Prendemos luz ahí o qué, güey? Como bien oscuro, güey. Entonces, pero pues ahí quedó en el papelito nomás, ¿va? Pero realmente, pues Estados Unidos es el que viene con armas. Y a ver, Egipto, ¿quieres mis armas? Que yo sé que quieres mis armas. Haz tratos con Israel.
Signed the deal, making Egypt the first Arab state to recognize Israel. But since it didn't solve this problem, it was viewed by many Arabs as a betrayal.
النهارده اجتمعوا في معسكر داوود أو اسطبل داوود أو اسطبل الخيانة.
Arab people in Egypt, Palestine, and all over the Middle East protested against this deal.
This was Sadat's decision, whether it was the right decision or not. And his people had no say in that.
And Palestinian and Arab governments rejected it.
He went forward without his people really being behind him, and he paid the ultimate price.
Anwar Sadat, peacemaker of Egypt, killed in a military assassination.
While Egypt and
Entonces, el pueblo, el mismo pueblo mató al líder que hizo el acuerdo, porque pues el pueblo realmente era el que estaba en contra de toda esta situación, ¿no?
Israel's cold
O
peace
sea, no nomás era un tema de gobierno, pues ya era un tema del pueblo, se lo tomó en serio.
survived.
Mi
The
gente, la verga, güey. Mira, güey. ¿Qué motherfucker? Te lo dije.
rest of the Arab countries continued to refuse to recognize Israel, and the fighting continued. But who did the fighting would change.
The war in Gaza is by far the biggest story in the world right now, and it's been dominating the news cycles for months because it's so complicated. Navigating all the developments, all the angles, all the voices can be a really daunting task, which is why I'm super excited to announce our sponsor this week is Ground News. Ground News is a website and app that's designed to give people a more transparent and data-driven way to do of every
A year before it happens, the coverage shows me stories about this. You might have parts of the world
That you 40
Trabajo remoto, buen salario y un trabajo que te gusta y tiempo para ti. Hola, soy Lalo Octavio Garcés, ex-chief AI.
two
Hola.
independent news organizations, Search Party, but also Ground News. They're an independent
Overshadowed by an Israeli invasion of Lebanon.
In the 1970s and 80s, wars continued to erupt, but the Arab armies largely stayed on the sidelines.
The Arab armies came to the realization that they're not in a position to contest with Israel, given its superior military and overwhelming backing by the United States and other European countries.
Instead, newly formed
Entonces, pues Israel hizo trato para acá, ok, y ahora se fue para este otro lado, a ver, pues vamos a echar chingazos para acá, güey, y hacer tratos con esta gente, ¿no?
militia groups in Palestine and Lebanon did most of the fighting, including
Que pues realmente, pues, a ver, ¿cómo le vas a pelear a un país que tiene el apoyo de los países que ganaron la segunda, que acaban de ganar la Segunda Guerra Mundial, güey? O sea, que le sobran armas, le sobran tanques, le sobra todo lo tienen ahí disponible a la verga en bodegas, güey. No se puede, güey.
one group in the Gaza Strip
cannot
called
do it.
Hamas, who believed in purely armed resistance to Israel, not diplomacy. Syria and Jordan supported them early on, but a non-Arab country would evolve into their biggest backer. In 1979, Iran's government was toppled by an Islamic regime that
Mira, ahí viene el tema que estaba diciendo ahorita, ¿no? A ver, entonces, ¿y los otros países árabes? ¿Qué rollo? ¿Por qué no los están mencionando?
both Israel and its ally, the United States.
We are against Israel, and we will never help Israel. We will cut off all diplomatic relation.
Literally overnight, Iran became Israel's newest enemy and it began funneling money, weapons, and even soldiers to the militias fighting Israel. But just because Iran was a new enemy of Israel, it didn't mean it was a new friend to the Arab states. Iran's new government was Shia Muslim and saw itself as a rival to several Arab states that were ruled by Sunnis, especially Saudi Arabia.
Entonces, este era el tema, güey. Este era el tema que estaba diciendo ahorita hace rato, güey. Que había escuchado a lo mejor los nombres, va, pero nunca me había metido un poquito a ver qué significaba, güey. Entonces, algunos son, o sea, todos son del Islam, pero pues hay diferentes variaciones, ¿no? Entonces, una variación es la Shia, que es más extremista, más para acá. Y el Sunni, que es un poquito más para acá. Poquito, va. O sea, o a lo mejor unos son muy para allá y otros son muy para allá, pues. ¿Me entiendes? Creen en lo mismo, pero unos muy para acá y otros muy para allá. La manera más fácil de explicarlo, yo creo. Porque realmente yo no sé cuál es la diferencia de creencias, ¿no? Ya en la religión y así. El Islam Shia contra el Sunni, no sé exactamente, ¿verdad? Nomás sé que pues a lo mejor este es muy derecha y este es muy izquierda. ¿Se me entiende? O sea, visiones diferentes de la misma religión. Cultura.
Meanwhile, Israelis and Palestinians achieved a diplomatic breakthrough. In 1993, Israel agreed to recognize a Palestinian government and grant them some authority in Gaza and the West Bank, in an agreement called the Oslo Accord.
Entonces era el que estamos viendo ahorita, ¿no? Los acuerdos que de los Oslos.
That led Jordan to sign its own treaty with Israel and become the second Arab state to recognize it. But like Egypt's, Jordan's treaty didn't get any Palestinian land back. Jordan's citizens.
Pero es que luego pasan por algo que está negro atrás y ya no lo veo.
Most other Arab governments.
The world we were in the early 90s was Oslo. It was peace. It was land for peace. It was negotiations versus armed conflict. So the Jordanians' timing was right for that moment.
In the 2000s, Saudi Arabia pushed further by proposing a deal where all members of the Arab League would recognize Israel if Israel withdrew completely from the West Bank, a version of what's known as the two-state solution. But Israel rejected it, and fighting between it and Palestinians continued.
Entonces, los árabes ofrecen de que, ok, bueno, está bien, vamos dividiéndolo, ¿no? Una parte para acá, otra parte para acá, güey. Pero ya Israel fue que dijo, no, pura verga, güey, ya no hay división, güey. Chingan su madre todos a la vez, güey. Sálganse de mis tierras, güey.
After trying war, then diplomacy, the Arab states' resolve began to waver right as new conflicts enveloped the region. In 2003, the U.S. toppled the government of Iraq and sparked a civil war. Then in 2011, a wave of popular protests called the Arab Spring threatened many Arab governments and even...
Entonces, aquí Irak lo ponen que es Sunni. Pero, pues según yo, Irak está muy dividido entre sunnis y chiíes. Siria creo que también. Es también parte del tema, ¿no? O sea que no es que todo el país sea de un lado. O sea, en el mismo país tienes gente que son más para acá y gente que son más para acá, como todos lados, a la verga.
Been toppled a few. In 2012, Syria collapsed into the civil war.
Siempre es más fácil cuando nomás hay dos lados, pues.
Then, a few years later, so did Yemen. Militia groups emerged all over the region, and Iran took advantage of it by funneling more weapons, money, and soldiers to them, creating a network of proxy militias that it used.
Que esto es curioso, ¿va? Porque entonces Irán empieza a darle dinero a todos estos terroristas, quiero decirlo así, güey, extremistas, pero pues Irán estaba de socio con Estados Unidos y haciendo negocios nucleares con Estados Unidos. You know what I'm saying?
to threaten Israel and increasingly its Arab enemies in the Gulf. As it progressed towards obtaining a nuclear weapon, many Arab states began considering Iran a far greater concern than Israel, despite Israel's increasingly brutal treatment of Palestinians. Israel's government, primarily under...
Es el tema, ¿va? Irán tiene bombas nucleares.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was allowing Israeli settlements to
diferencia
expand
de
across the
la
West
mayoría de
Bank,
los países
and
que
with
están ahí.
Egypt enforcing a brutal blockade of the Gaza Strip, which Hamas began to govern in 2006. While this outraged Arab people, many of their governments began considering a solution that had been unthinkable decades earlier: team up with Israel against Iran, even if it meant leaving the Palestinian issue unresolved.
For certain Arab countries,
Entonces, así convencen a todos estos árabes de unirse con Israel porque están en contra de Irán. Que Irán se había o sea, ¿sí me entiendes? Se estaba uniendo con Estados Unidos para apoyar a las extremas de estos lugares y así ayudar a Israel.
Against Iran, even if it meant leaving the Palestinian issue unresolved.
Que fíjate, es en el tema que no me he metido, pero como que había tenido en mente, no sé mucho al respecto. ¿Cómo fue que Irán consiguió armas nucleares? Yo pensé que eran por aliados de los rusos, pero creo, no sé, en algunos de estos videos que he estado viendo, creo que algo vi de que fue por tratos con Estados Unidos. No estoy muy seguro, necesito investigar un poquito más esa madre, porque algo vi que me hizo ruido, pero no sé. O sea, he tenido la duda de cómo fue que Irán llegó a tener armas nucleares también, pero no sé cómo.
For certain Arab countries, when they were confronting both the domestic threat from Arab Spring-esque type of revolutions as well as external pressures from countries such as Iran. So where did Palestine fall for them? It became the third, fourth, fifth.
In 2020, Bahrain, the UAE, Morocco, and Sudan agreed to recognize Israel.
Entonces, pues ya todos esos países tenían más pedos por acá que los pedos que tenían con los palestinos, ¿va? O sea, como gobierno. La gente, obviamente, seguía discutiendo este tema, ¿va, güey? Pero al gobierno, pues, ya le convenía mejor hacer tratos. Porque pues está todo el tema del petróleo, todo el tema de las armas.
In exchange for the promise of Israeli cooperation on trade and military deals, the U.S. incentivized them with promises, loans, and weaponry.
Te fijas, o sea, Estados Unidos te da dinero, te da préstamos, te da armas. Es parte del trato que hacen, pues.
Pause its expansions in the West Bank, but left the conflict unresolved. That's largely why, in this 2022 poll of Arab citizens, most held a negative view of these deals, called the Abraham Accords.
Entonces, este es el tema, va, güey. El pueblo no está de acuerdo con lo que están haciendo, güey. Pero, pues, el gobierno lo sigue haciendo porque, pues, le conviene, ¿no? Qué verga.
Again, they protested, but their government ignored them.
Haces trato con tu rival menos malo en tu mente, pues. El menos malo. De dos males, el menos malo.
The Arab states' positions first began with an outright rejection of any Israeli.
O sea, porque ¿cómo se van a defender entonces todos estos países que son de una cultura suní de los países que traen una cultura chía, si los de la cultura chía tienen mejores armas? Pues no, yo necesito tener mejores armas. Entonces, bueno, voy a hacer un trato con mi enemigo para que su amigo, que es Estados Unidos, haga tratos conmigo y me dé armas para yo defenderme de mi enemigo, que al final del día termina siendo amigo de mi otro enemigo. Todo un pinche círculo bien complicado a la verga, güey. La clave es que Estados Unidos sigue vendiendo armas a la verga, güey. Eso es lo más importante, güey. Que todos se peleen contra todos y Estados Unidos le dé las armas, güey, para que todos se sigan peleando a la verga, güey.
The ceding of land captured in 1967. Then it was acceptance of perhaps some land swaps. Then it became the promise of not building.
Porque yo me pongo a pensar, güey. Digo, a ver. En las películas, las noticias, diferentes mamadas, se habla mucho del Mossad, que es así como la CIA de Israel, las capacidades que tienen y de lo pasado de verga que son, güey. Entonces digo yo, esa gente, no es posible que esa gente vayan y se metan a un país y metan un gobierno que a ellos les conviene. Sí, ¿no? Pero lo hicieron al revés. Yo pienso. Entonces, te chingas sistemáticamente a la parte del gobierno que no acuerda con lo que tú quieres y dejas que la otra parte siga agarrando poder, ¿no? Por abajo de la mesa, pues. Porque digo yo, si Israel realmente hubiera querido que no los atacaran nunca, güey, y que unos terroristas no se adueñaran del gobierno en un país vecino, pues creo yo que su agencia, el Mossad, que es la más famosa del mundo y la verga, güey, para asesinatos y todas esas mamadas, güey. ¿Cómo es posible que no hayan podido controlar lo que ellos quisieran? Pues, ¿sí me entiendes? O sea, yo pienso que hubiera sido más fácil, o hubiera sido fácil para ellos manipular el gobierno para hacer un trato y vivir en paz, en vez de hacer pues todo el cagadero que están haciendo, ¿no? De no vivir en paz y matar a todos a la verga hasta que yo sea dueño de toda esa tierra.
Building more settlements. Certainly.
Digo, todos sabemos que el Mossad es una cosa, es una agencia pasada de verga, güey. Entonces, ¿por qué unas gentes con unos pinches avioncitos hechos en casa, güey, pudieron entrar, güey, teniendo tanto poder, ¿no, güey?
The Palestinian cause became deminimized.
Most of the Arab states that once went to war on the Palestinians' behalf were moving on without them. And in
es el pedo, güey, pasa por algo oscuro y ya no los veo a la verga,
Saudi
güey.
Arabia was next.
Su puta madre, güey.
It began negotiating a deal where it would recognize Israel if the U.S. promised it more military protection and gave it nuclear energy technology.
Entonces,
They were also
Arabia Saudita, güey, ahora se sube a la mesa, güey. Ok, hacemos trato con Estados Unidos, dame dinero, dame armas y darme armas nucleares. No nomás.
demanding the Israelis give something to the Palestinians, but likely not their own state.
Porque Arabia Saudita pues ya tiene el negocio de petróleo con Estados Unidos, ¿no? Entonces, ok, ya estamos en negocios, pues vamos completando el negocio entero, güey. Y ok, hago un trato con Israel, vale
In
verga.
September 2023,
Aunque mi gente no quiera, a mí me vale verga.
the deal had become imminent.
So you think, if you were to characterize it, are you close?
La UNICEF.
Every day we get closer.
To Hamas, this deal
Every day we get closer.
would make a Palestinian state almost impossible to achieve. So it devised a plan to hurt Israel, rally the Arab people to the Palestinian cause, and put pressure back on these Arab governments.
Militants from Hamas launched a surprise attack from the Gaza Strip.
Entonces, ahí es cuando Hamas, pues ya la ves perdida y dice, pues chingue su madre, va. Lo único que tenemos, pues chinga, a la verga, tírense en paracaídas, lo que sea, bueno, güey. Agarra lo que puedas agarrar y tráetelo para acá, güey. Vamos a secuestrar, pues todo lo que podamos secuestrar.
1,400 people have been killed since Saturday in retaliatory attacks in the territory.
يجب على الأنظمة العربية تحديدا الأردن ومصر وكل الأنظمة العربية أن تأخذ خطوات أكثر عملية مما هو متخذ الآن. نريد قطع العلاقات الدبلوماسية.
This march firmly expresses our support for the people of Palestine and their courageous resistance. It also represents the Moroccan voice refusing normalization of ties with Israel.
This wave of anger from their people has put these Arab governments in a bind because they all really want to keep their relationship with Israel. Egypt and Jordan's governments are acting cautiously because they don't want to be dragged into a conflict again.
Entonces el pedo va, como gobierno, te conviene hacer un trato con tu enemigo para hacer un trato con Estados Unidos, pero como cultura, o sea, tu gente, el nacionalismo de tu gente y así, pues no te va a servir mucho, ¿va, güey? Son decisiones no populares.
Against it. Saudi Arabia put its deal with Israel on hold, but didn't call it off. And Bahrain and the UAE have been the most vocal against Hamas's attack because they really like the benefits they get from Israel and the US, and are still worried about the...
Por eso luego ves a un chingo de gente de estos países saliendo así a hacer huelgas y la verga, pero el país en sí, el gobierno, no está haciendo nada.
Threat from Iran. So these Arab governments are pleading for a permanent ceasefire, and again calling for a two-state solution, but they're resisting calls to cut ties with Israel, for now.
Whatever their plans are, whether it is regarding regime protection or genuine advancement of their society.
Entonces digo yo, a ver, si lo que estaba diciendo ahorita de que Estados Unidos le dio las armas nucleares a Irán, y ahora está asustando a los otros países árabes de que Irán tiene armas nucleares, entonces ustedes también necesitan armas nucleares, entonces necesitan hacer un trato conmigo.
They need this thing resolved. And so you may see a strong push by them in the aftermath of this war.
Because what the Hamas attacks has demonstrated to the Arab countries is that as long as this issue remains unresolved, it can serve as a way to undermine them. So to avoid being in this position again, they need to work towards a real solution, once and for all.
And that's the last video of the year. I just want to thank all of you for watching. It's been an incredible first 6 months of Search Party.
Se acabó la verga el Search Party. Entonces, así está el pedo más o menos, fíjate.
Covering how ISIS was able to rise to power in Iraq and Syria. Throughout all of our lifetimes, the Middle East is a region that has been nearly synonymous.
Entonces, ISIS, güey. ISIS fue en Irak y fue en Siria, güey. ISIS es un tema de este lado chía que les decía ahorita, ¿no? De que Irán es más chía que suní. Estos dos, pues son a lo mejor mitad y mitad. A veces que uno está en el poder, a veces que otro está en el poder, ¿no? Entonces, Estados Unidos y Europa, pues a veces apoyan a un lado, a veces apoyan al otro, ¿eh?
With warfare, instability, and conflict. You've heard nearly every single year of your life about some kind of conflict going on in this place, regardless of when you were born, because conflicts have been raging here without a pause for nearly the entirety of the past century. Just since the turn of the 21st century.
Pues no va, güey. O sea, dicen aquí, güey, así como que aquí ha habido, en esta zona ha habido pedos desde el último siglo, güey. Pura verga, güey. En esta zona ha habido pedos desde que empezó la pinche humanidad, güey. Mesopotamia, entre los dos ríos aquí, el Eufrates y el quién sabe qué verga. Y acá los egiptos, güey. Toda esta zona que era el camino entre uno y otro, güey.
Alone. There have been major wars fought across the territories of Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, Israel, Palestine, and Yemen that have variously attracted the military involvements of Iran, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, the United Arab Emirates, Turkey, and powers from even beyond the Middle East like the United States, United Kingdom, France, and Russia. These 21st century conflicts in the Middle East alone have claimed the lives of millions of people and forced millions more into exile and refugee status while costing trillions of dollars, making the Middle East arguably the most geopolitically turbulent region anywhere in the 21st century world. But why is this part of the world the way that it is? Why do you always hear about wars and conflicts taking place here? And why will you probably continue hearing about wars and conflicts taking place here for the rest of your life? The answers to those questions are complex, because the modern Middle East is the most geopolitically complicated chessboard in the world to really understand, with dozens of different actors and competing interests all variously working against each other at some times and then working together at others. But in order to understand the root cause of the modern Middle East's many problems, you only have to rewind the clock a little more than 100 years ago to learn how the Middle East borders we know today came into being, and why they have guaranteed more than a century's worth of forever wars and misery for the entire world ever since. For many centuries, the Turkish Ottoman Empire dominated practically the entirety of the Middle East and enforced its own rule of law across the land. Dozens of ethnicities.
Que esto es antes de la Primera Guerra Mundial, ¿no? Todo esto era el Imperio Otomano, que en su momento fueron los persas y la verga. El Imperio Otomano se apoderó de todo esto. Si la Primera Guerra Mundial, pues fue contra el Imperio Otomano, ¿no? Luego mucha gente, oye, ya la verga, fue hace tanto, güey, que ya la gente ni se acuerda, güey. Le preguntas a alguien ahorita, güey, ¿contra quién peleamos la Primera Guerra Mundial, güey? Peleamos, digo yo, bien mamón, ¿no, güey? La gente no se acuerda de la verga, güey. ¿Se acuerdan de la Segunda Guerra Mundial y Hitler y la verga, va? Porque pues estaba muy bueno el chisme, güey. Hitler y los judíos y guau. Pero la Primera Guerra Mundial, ¿qué verga? ¿Contra quién peleamos, güey? ¿Qué verga fue eso, güey? ¿Qué pasó?
Ethnicities, languages, and religions all compose the extremely diverse peoples of the empire that at one point spanned from Hungary to Yemen. The Ottoman Empire had regions within it, but it had no tolerance for nations. And nationalism within the empire of any kind was always ruthlessly repressed and crushed in the name of greater imperial stability and peace. But the Ottoman Empire eventually entered into a long period of...
Que el tema, ¿no, güey? A mí me vale verga tu pueblo y tu cultura y tu religión y lo que tú quieras, me vale verga, güey. Aquí todos somos uno, güey. Somos un conjunto, güey. Tenemos muchas religiones, muchos pueblos, muchas culturas diferentes, güey. Pero somos uno, güey.
Of gradual decline, and by the 19th century, the rising British Empire was growing increasingly interested in the Middle East that the Ottomans had so thoroughly dominated for so long. The Middle East, you see,
que era su camino, va, güey. Su camino para traer cosas de la India y de China, güey, porque de China venían por aquí, güey, por el Silk Road, y venían a la India, güey. Entonces los europeos venían por aquí, agarraban cosas de la India y se las llevaban otra vez para las Europas.
Geographically stood in the way between the British home islands and the Crown's most important colony, India. In order to better safeguard British ships traveling between India and the home islands, the British began gradually acquiring protectorates across the Middle East, beginning with the modern United Arab Emirates in 1820, and then gradually expanding from there to include southern Yemen, Bahrain, and eventually Egypt itself in 1888. Nearly 20 years after the Suez Canal had first been completed, which granted the British the quickest possible journey time between the home islands and India by way across the Mediterranean and the Red Sea. The Suez Canal, owned by British and French shareholders despite running through Egypt, was therefore one of Britain's most geopolitically valuable assets, and they intended to ensure their continuous access to it by forcing Egypt into the status of a protectorate. The British further established protectorates over Oman and Kuwait, and then in 1914, alarmed by the increasing British meddling in the Middle East and their internal affairs, the Ottoman Empire took the decision to join the First World War on the side of Imperial Germany. It was shortly after that when the British and the French decided that the Ottoman Empire would have to be completely destroyed by them. But it was initially unclear what exactly would take the place of the centuries-old rule of the Ottomans.
Que luego ese es el pedo también, ¿no? O sea... Ok, quitas un gobierno, güey. ¿Cómo controlas a la gente, güey? qué tipo de gobierno implementas para controlar a esa gente que es culturalmente diferente a tu gente, ¿no? Entonces a lo mejor tu gobierno pues no van a estar de acuerdo, güey, no les va a funcionar, güey. Entonces, ¿cómo implementas un gobierno en una cultura diferente, güey?
16, British and French diplomats named Mark Sykes and Francois-Georges Picot negotiated a secret treaty regarding how their respective governments would divide and partition the lands of the Ottoman Empire between themselves after the war's conclusion and the ancient empire's destruction. The agreement became simply known as the Sykes-Picot Agreement, and basically went as follows. This zone would fall under direct colonial British rule. This zone would in time become an independent Arab state under British influence. This zone would fall under direct colonial French rule. This zone would in time become another independent Arab state but under French influence. This zone would be given to the Russian Empire, while the region of Palestine and Jerusalem, with its immense religious significance, would be placed under some kind of as of yet unspecified international administration. These initial political lines that the British and French diplomats drew across the Middle East for the future of the region in 1916 paid little attention to the complex real borders of the Middle East's various religious beliefs, languages, and ethnicities. But the lines were also not just arbitrarily drawn either. While not based on ethnicity, language, or religion, or really even geography in many cases, the lines were instead based upon the older Ottoman internal divisions that they had created, which also had little to no regard for ethnic or religious boundaries in their vast ethnically, linguistically, and religiously diverse empire, where nationalism and separatism was never tolerated. The British zone initially encompassed the Ottomans' provinces of Baghdad and Basra, and parts of Deir ez-Zor and Damascus, while the French zone initially encompassed the Ottomans' provinces of Mosul, Deir ez-Zor, Aleppo, Adana, Beirut, and Lebanon, while the International Palestine area was based on the province of Jerusalem itself that reported directly to the Ottoman capital. This was the map that Sykes and Picot drafted their own new lines atop of in 1916, rather than any detailed ethnic, linguistic, or religious map of the region, resulting in massive consequences that have reverberated down the decades ever since. The initial terms of the 1916 Sykes-Picot Agreement were then even further complicated by several other British wartime promises, guarantees, and assumptions. In order to encourage an Arab revolt against their Turkish overlords, many British officials guaranteed that they would favor the creation.
Es el pedo, ¿no? ¿Cómo creas un estado que tiene culturas muy diferentes, güey, entre pueblo y pueblo?
Of a large unified Arab state across the Arab lands following the end of the war. At nearly the same time, though, in 1917, Britain also proclaimed the Balfour Declaration, which promised that the British government would favor the creation of a national home for the...
O sea, ¿cómo convences al pueblo de que todos somos mexicanos si el sonorense es muy diferente del yucatanense, güey? ¿Cómo los convences de que esas dos culturas son un mismo pueblo?
The Jewish people in the land of Palestine. And then, finally, there was the question of oil. Oil had been first discovered in the Middle East in a remote part of Iran in 1908, that the British subsequently dominated through their state-owned Anglo-Persian oil company, which would later evolve into the British Petroleum, or BP, company that we know of today. But Iran's oil at the time wasn't considered enough. World War I was proving to everyone involved how critical oil was becoming as a strategic resource to fuel the new machines of war, from battleships to airplanes, and the United States was at that time by far the world's largest producer and supplier of oil. America therefore provided the British Empire with most of their oil needs, but America's president at the time was also Woodrow Wilson, a man who was staunchly opposed to the concept of empires in the post-war world, including Britain's. So, believing America to be a potentially unreliable provider of oil to their empire in the future, the British government was, at the time, highly incentivized to acquire influence and control over as much of the Middle East nearby to Iran as possible, where they believed that potential future massive oil deposits would be later discovered and owned by them, providing Britain with the critical oil it would need to fight through whatever conflict would come to them next. After World War I concluded, the victorious Allies met at Versailles in 1919 to set the terms of the peace, and the borders of the Middle East were shifted once again. The Ottoman province of Mosul was transferred from the French zone of influence over to the British zone of influence. And as the Ottoman Empire was actively collapsing, the Allies pressed the infamous terms of the Treaty of Sèvres upon the dying empire in 1920, the terms of which made even the Treaty of Versailles that was pressed upon Germany seem fairly generous. The terms of the previous Sykes-Picot Agreement between Britain and France would remain intact. With the Russian Empire now gone, a huge independent state of Armenia was to be carved out of northeastern Anatolia. Another independent state for the Kurdish people was to be further carved out of southeastern Anatolia. Italy was to seize control over several of the empire's Aegean islands. Greece was to annex much of eastern Thrace and a chunk around the city of Izmir on the Anatolian mainland, while the area around the strategically important Turkish Straits was to fall under an international regime outside of Turkey's remaining jurisdiction. The Turkish state that was to be left over was doomed to become nothing more than an insignificant rump state. And thus, outraged by the treaty's terms, the emerging Turkish government almost immediately rebelled and continued fighting against the Allies for the next 2 years. After the Turkish forces made significant military gains on the battlefield, they forced the Allies to return back to the negotiating table again and concluded with the terms of the 1923 Treaty of Lausanne, which replaced the terms of the previous Treaty of Sèvres and were far more favorable to Turkey. Finally, the borders of the modern Middle East, as we roughly know them as today, were set in ink. But the terms of Lausanne in 1923 still left many questions and problems unresolved. There would be no independent state created for the Kurdish people after all, for example. The terms of Lausanne in...
Te fijas como el desierto este nadie lo quiere, la verga. Te puedo decir hace rato, güey, que pues el negocio, güey, era entre Egipto, que era un país, o sea, ¿qué viene siendo, güey? No es un país, no era un país, era... ¿Qué viene siendo, güey? Un imperio, no sé. Lo que hubiera sido, güey. Para hacer negocios con la gente acá de Babilonia y los musulmanes, los mesopotámicos. Todo el negocio pasaba por aquí arriba, güey. O sea, este era la ruta económica, güey. Para acá para abajo, puro pinche desierto, güey, nadie le importa la verga, güey. Pero aquí, ruta económica.
In 1923 still left many questions and problems unresolved. There would be no independent state created for the Kurdish people after all, for example, a problem that has vexed the region for the century ever since. Today, the Kurds are one of the largest stateless people in the world, numbering some 40 million strong, with their own separate ethnic, cultural, and linguistic identity, but divided between the borders of what became Turkey, Syria, Iraq, and Iran, where in all four countries they are minority groups and have often been subject to persecution and discrimination. Kurdish...
O sea, este pueblo de los kurdos se quedaron valiendo verga, se quedaron sin país, pues. Una parte fue Turquía, otra parte fue Irak, otra parte fue Siria, otra parte fue Irán.
Nationalism and separatism and the desire to create an independent Kurdish state out of these areas has been a constant flashpoint of conflict in this region ever since.
Porque antes la definición de las fronteras, más que culturales, yo creo que eran religiosas, ¿no?
The British also smushed together the former Ottoman provinces of Mosul, Baghdad, and Basra into their mandate for Mesopotamia, which would later evolve into the state of Iraq. But the problem with that was that all three of those Ottoman provinces contained very different people with very different interests, identities, and beliefs. The people of Mosul were mostly ethnically Kurdish. The people of the Baghdad province were primarily Sunni Muslim Arabs, while the people of the Basra province were mostly Shia Muslim Arabs. Even further, what became Kuwait had also been a formal part of the Basra province under the Ottoman administration, until the British showed up and transformed it into a protectorate of theirs. After World War I, the British legally separated Kuwait from the Basra province and from Iraq, and they kept Kuwait as their own protectorate until the 1960s, which, in the end, would give the Iraqi state a decent historical claim to Kuwait that would eventually be acted upon by Saddam Hussein's invasion in 1990.
If you've never broken a single bone, you might be one of us.
Otro anuncio de inteligencia
Only
artificial.
1.2% of humanity is starseeds. Are you one of us?
Esta madre es inteligencia artificial. ¿Qué será? De los 10 anuncios que me han salido, la mitad han sido inteligencia artificial o más.
Iraq became independent from the British Mandate in 1932 and emerged as a deeply internally fragmented state, with a historical claim on Kuwait. And it was also almost completely landlocked, with only a tiny sliver of a coastline on the Persian Gulf wedged in between Kuwait and Iran. And it further controlled neither of the headwaters for the two great rivers that it would rely so heavily upon for its civilization, the Tigris and Euphrates, both of which begin further to the north within Turkey. The French mandates weren't created much better either. The Lebanon province...
Que el pedo aquí dice entonces, güey, que no tienen acceso a el inicio de estos ríos, ¿va, güey? Entonces si alguien le quiere cortar aquí el acceso, pues se los corta la verga y se quedan sin agua.
The Tigris and Euphrates, both of which begin further to the north within Turkey. The Frenchmen...
El Tigris y el Euphrates, los ríos que crearon las civilizaciones, ¿no, güey? Ellos sí nos enseñaron en la escuela, güey, esos dos ríos.
Mandates weren't created much better either. The Lebanon province of the Ottoman Empire was deliberately separated as an independent state by the French based on that province's slight religious majority of Christians at the time.
Ahorita me entró la duda, fíjate, güey, o sea, pues de plebito nos enseñaron esa madre de Mesopotamia y estos dos ríos y ahí empezó la civilización y lo que tú quieras, ¿no, güey? ¿Qué tanto nos enseñan de los conflictos y así que hubo aquí, güey? Pura, no nos enseñan tanto, va, güey. Nomás es así como que, sí, ahí empezó la civilización, güey. Me quedé pensando ahorita, güey.
But it had very significant minorities of Sunni and Shia Arabs and Druze Arabs as well. Meanwhile, the polyglot Ottoman provinces of Aleppo, Beirut, Damascus, and Deir ez-Zor were all smushed together to form what became Syria, putting large numbers of Sunni Kurds, Sunni Arabs, Alawite Shia Arabs, and Christian Assyrians and...
¿Te fijas? En Siria, como en Irak, ahí está dividido, güey, güey. Aquí como que le ponen más a Sunni, va, pero según yo está micha y micha, güey, el asunto aquí, güey.
Arabs all in...
Según yo digo, como si yo supiera algo, va, güey, yo qué verga voy a saber, güey, pero bueno.
To the same country. And then in the 1930s, the Turkish government began pressuring the French to cede over the Syrian province of Alexandretta, owing to that province's large Turkish community, fearing that if they did not yield to the Turkish demands that Turkey may join in an alliance with Nazi Germany. The French relented and pushed out Alexandretta from the Syrian mandate as the independent state of Hatay in 1938. Then the following year, in 1939, the independent Hatay state held a highly controversial referendum on annexation into Turkey.
Significa que duró nomás un año esta madre, ¿o qué?
Turkey that was passed, resulting in it entering Turkey as the Hatay province. And ever since then, the government of what would later become Syria has continually claimed the Hatay province as rightfully Syrian territory under Turkish occupation. And even further, the headwaters for the Euphrates River that runs all across Syria begins up in Turkey as well, meaning that Turkish-built dams on the Euphrates and the Tigris.
Entonces aquí en Turquía, güey, que está muy mezclado todo el tema de las religiones, ¿o qué?
Present direct challenges to both Syria's and...
Porque Turquía siento yo que también estuvo muy metido en todas estas pinches broncas de todas estas zonas, ¿no, güey?
Iraq supplies of water, leading to further sources of potential conflict between Iraq and Syria on one side and Turkey on the other. Lebanon became independent from the French Mandate in 1943 and Syria in 1946. And Syria immediately emerged with territorial disputes with Turkey over Hatay and territorial claims to the whole of Lebanon based on the French decision to artificially separate it based on religious demographics, while being itself a deeply internally fragmented state along sectarian and ethnic lines just like Iraq and also Lebanon. Then, all of these political divisions created by the Allies' mapmaking between 1916 and 1923 were even further exacerbated by the future discoveries of oil and gas across all of these brand new countries. Oil was only first discovered in Iraq in 1927, years after the borders had already been drawn and settled, marking the first major discovery of oil in the Arab world. Future initial discoveries of oil were...
Que se fue el tema, ¿no? Entre la Primera Guerra Mundial y la Segunda Guerra Mundial descubrieron el petróleo en esa zona.
made in Kuwait and Saudi Arabia a decade later in 1938, and then much later in Syria and the United Arab Emirates in 1956 and 1958, respectively. But the locations of where the oil and gas reserves were to be discovered across all of these new countries in nearly every single case would ensure generations of nearly continuous conflict over them. Within Iraq, oil was discovered across the former Ottoman provinces of Basra and Mosul, home to the Shia Arab and Sunni Kurdish communities, but hardly any oil at all would be discovered in the central Baghdad province that was primarily home to the Sunni Arabs. Even further, an overwhelming 90% of all of Iran's oil reserves would simply be discovered within the Iranian province of Khuzestan, which encompasses an exposed, flat plain on the western side of the Zagros Mountains that otherwise largely forms the rest of Iran's westernmost borders. And even further, Khuzestan was primarily inhabited by Shia Arabs, rather than the Shia Persians who made up the majority of the rest of the country. Kuwait, though small in size, also had enormous oil reserves nearly equal to the entirety of Iraq's oil reserves. And of course, Iraq contained the historical claim to Kuwait, a card that could be theoretically deployed at any time to double the Iraqi state's oil resources.
Que ese fue también todo un tema, ¿no? Que Irak históricamente era dueño de Kuwait. Como el tema era el petróleo, pues había mucho petróleo que estaba entre las dos zonas, ¿no? Mitad en Irak y mitad en Kuwait, o a lo mejor un poquito más acá, un poquito más allá, no sé, va, pero pues aquí hay petróleo entre los dos. Entonces, vamos a hacer un negocio. Los dos. Tú pones tubería de este lado, yo pongo tubería de este lado, y los dos vamos a sacar la misma cantidad. Si tú sacas 10 barriles, yo saco 10 barriles. Y así nos las llevamos. Y así no tenemos que discutir que si este es tuyo, que si este es mío, pues a la verga. Está en la mitad, güey, y pues sacamos micha, güey. Ni pedo. Kuwait, socio de Estados Unidos, empieza a sacar más. Empieza a sacar más. Y lo empieza a vender en el mercado. Lo que le causa problemas al resto de los países que se supone estaban siguiendo las reglas que habían puesto todos en un principio junto con Estados Unidos de qué tantos barriles podían sacar cada uno, ¿no? Entonces Irak le dice a Estados Unidos: oye, Kuwait está sacando más de lo que le toca, güey. Y no nomás lo está sacando, güey, lo está sacando y lo está vendiendo. Y nos está chingando a nosotros, güey, con los precios. Y Estados Unidos le dice: pues tú dale. Entonces Irak dice: ok, tengo permiso de Estados Unidos de chingarme a Kuwait porque se están pasando de verga. Entonces Irak invade a Kuwait, pero Estados Unidos dice: ¡hey! Suenan las alarmas. Irak está invadiendo Kuwait. Entonces yo, Estados Unidos, voy a invadir a Irak. A la verga. Y empieza el cagadero. Y no pudieron contra Irak, va. No pudieron realmente. Kuwait sí, pero contra Irak no.
Resources. In Saudi Arabia, home to the largest share of the Persian Gulf's oil, the oil would be almost entirely discovered in just a small area of the eastern side of the country near to the waters of the Gulf itself, within lands that were home to Saudi Arabia's Shia Muslim minority, while hardly any at all would be discovered in the Sunni majority areas. And then in Syria, the oil was found almost entirely in the east and the northeast of the country, in the lands of the Sunni Kurds and the Sunni Arabs, while hardly any at all was discovered in the Alawite Shia Arab lands of the west. All in all, the oil found across the Middle East, scattered across the complicated mosaic of competing ethnic, religious, and political identities, would prove to make up nearly half of the entire world's known supply of oil, meaning that outside powers like the British, the Soviets, and eventually the Americans were all going to be permanently interested in influencing the region's events atop all of the dozens of local ethnic, religious, and political interests and actors seeking to influence events as well.
Entonces la mitad del petróleo del mundo está en esa zona, güey. Pues, a ver, los que ocupamos petróleo, necesitamos tener cierto control en esa zona, ¿no?
Oh, and then...
O mantener el descontrol para que ni uno suba mucho y nosotros que estamos acá arriba los mantenemos abajo.
The British did something else in the Middle East as well. They created a Jewish state out of their other mandate on the other side of the Middle East in Palestine. In the wake of the Holocaust perpetrated by Nazi Germany in Europe, hundreds of thousands of Jewish refugees had been fleeing for their lives to the British mandate for Palestine, encouraged by the British government's own promises for a Jewish homeland made in the Balfour Declaration of 1917, and in the process changing the mandate's demographics, which had previously been almost entirely populated by Arabs. As Britain prepared to release the mandate for Palestine as an independent state following the end of World War II, the newly created United Nations released a plan for the partition of Mandatory Palestine in 1947, between a newly created Jewish state and a Palestinian Arab state, and an international administration placed in control over the holy city of Jerusalem. The plan was accepted by most of the Jewish groups, but nearly universally rejected by most of the Arab groups, on the basis that the proposal was too unfair and tilted too much towards the Jewish side. Despite the Palestinian Arab population at the time in Mandatory Palestine being more than twice as many as the Jewish population was, the 1947 UN partition plan called for giving the Jewish state 62% of the mandate's land, while only 38% of the land would be allocated to the Arab state. Fighting between the Arabs and the Jews in Mandatory Palestine escalated, and as the British withdrew in 1948, the State of Israel declared its independence, thus starting the continuous Arab-Israeli conflict that has remained ever since. Not one Arab country in the world would recognize Israel's existence as legitimate at first, and a coalition of mostly recently created or independent Arab states went to war with Israel in 1948 in support of the Palestinian Arab cause. Israel ended up emerging victorious in that war and ended it in control over all the lands that the UN had assigned to the Jewish state in the 1947 partition plan, in addition to 60% of the UN proposed Arab states' land and the western half of Jerusalem, while Jordan occupied and then annexed the Palestinian-assigned West Bank and International East Jerusalem, while Egypt occupied the Palestinian-assigned Gaza Strip and transformed it into a protectorate. No independent Palestinian Arab state would end up emerging, and an estimated 700,000 Palestinian Arabs were exiled or became refugees displaced from their homes, with many of them fleeing into neighboring Lebanon, in an event that they referred to as the Nakba, or the catastrophe, which would gradually alter that country's demographics to being more Muslim-dominated, leading to future internal demographic conflict in that country, like the long Lebanese civil war that would last between 1975 and 1990. At the same time, hundreds of thousands of additional Jews would migrate towards Israel from the shattered communities left behind by the Nazis in Europe, further tilting Israel's demographics more in favor of Jews. The defeat of the Arabs against Israel in 1948 gave way to the rise of Gamal Abdel Nasser in Egypt, a secular Arab nationalist who dreamed of unifying all of the Arab lands in the Middle East beneath a single Arab superstate that would utilize most of the Middle East's oil as their super weapon, a super weapon that he hoped would lead to the defeat of Israel and its primary backer, the United States. Nasser came to power in Egypt in 1954, and he would only be the first of many post-World War II Middle Eastern leaders who would set about to change the map of the region set into place by Sykes and Picot. He railed against not only Israel and the United States, but against the Arab monarchies like Saudi Arabia and Kuwait as well, whom he saw as corrupted and who were actively developing closer relations to the United States over their vast oil resources. In 1956, Nasser took the fateful decision of nationalizing the Suez Canal and destroying the ownership structure over it that had been dominated by the foreign British and French shareholders for nearly a century. The British, French, and Israelis all retaliated with war and an invasion of Egypt to try and regain colonial control over the canal. But this time, both the United States and the Soviet Union alike rebuked the colonial invaders, and Egypt emerged victorious, catapulting Nasser and his flavor of secular Arab nationalism to the status of much of the Arab world's new champion. In 1958, a coup by military officers in Syria pledging personal loyalty to Nasser took over the country and joined it with Egypt in the short-lived United Arab Republic, which only fell apart just 3 years later in 1961 when another group of Syrian officers launched another coup and restored Syria again as an independent nation. Civil war in North Yemen exploded the following year in 1962 between the monarchist government there and Nasserist-style Arab nationalist Republican rebels, leading to the modern Middle East's first proxy conflict. The monarchist Middle Eastern states like Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Jordan, and Imperial Iran all balked at the prospect of a revolution in Yemen toppling the monarchy there and then spreading to their own monarchies. And so they all intervened militarily on behalf of the Yemeni monarchist regime, while Nasser, wanting to spread the cause of Arab nationalism and unity, massively supported the nationalist rebels by sending tens of thousands of Egyptian troops and copious volumes of weapons. The war ended up turning into Egypt's version of the Vietnam War, consuming enormous amounts of manpower and resources and developing into a stalemate, greatly weakening the Egyptian armed forces in the process. By 1967, Nasser was again threatening war with Israel over on another front. But, encouraged by Egyptian defeats in Yemen, the Israelis decided to strike first. Surprise Israeli airstrikes against Egyptian forces caught them completely off guard, leading to rapid Israeli military gains against Egypt, Jordan, and Syria in what would become known as the Six-Day War. Israel ended the war by occupying the Golan Heights from Syria, the West Bank and East Jerusalem from Jordan, and the Gaza Strip and the Sinai Peninsula from Egypt, placing Israeli forces on the entire eastern bank of the Suez Canal itself, which caused Egypt to shut the canal down to all maritime traffic for the next 8 years. Jewish Israeli settlers would then begin to move in and colonize all of the recently occupied territories, leading to further conflicts between the Israeli state and the Arab and Islamic worlds. And then, crushed and humiliated by the defeat, Nasser was forced to withdraw from the war in Yemen and died shortly afterwards from a heart attack at just 52 years old in 1970. It was also around that time that the British Empire decided that they could no longer financially maintain their commitments to security in the Middle East and the Persian Gulf, and critically, all of the oil there. In 1971, the British protectorates of Bahrain, Qatar, and the modern United Arab Emirates in the Gulf were all finally granted their independence. And without the British there any longer, the United States began taking an increased interest in the region instead, wishing to maintain the status quo and regional stability in the Gulf.
O sea, en el 71, güey. En el 71 les dieron la independencia de estos países, fíjate, güey. Hace bien poquito, güey. No te pases de verga. O sea, ya se había acabado la época de los hippies, güey, para estos tiempos, güey. Los virus y la verga ya no existían, pues. Ya habían existido antes.
In order to safeguard the world's supply of oil, in contrast to the frequent wars that were being fought over on the other side of the Middle East, the United States began encouraging their ally at the time, Imperial Iran, to step forward as the new guarantor of the...
Ya ves, güey. Irán, pues era, o es, o está entre comillas, aliado de Estados Unidos.
Region's security and to block the expansion of the Soviets from entering into the Gulf. Massive amounts of American weapons sales were made to arm Imperial Iran for this
Y les mandaron un chingo, ¿te fijas, güey? Estados Unidos, güey, armas a todo mundo a la verga, güey. Con las guerras, pues hizo un chingo de armas, ¿va? Y ganó, entonces pues se quedó con todas, y las que sobraron de los otros también se las quedó, entonces se las vendió a todo mundo a la verga, güey.
Exact purpose. A policy that would quickly backfire very badly. But on the other side of the Middle East, Nasser's Arab nationalist successor in Egypt, Anwar Sadat, and the recently risen to power Arab nationalist in Syria, Hafez al-Assad, decided to join forces again and attack Israel in order to reclaim the occupied Golan Heights and the Sinai Peninsula. Israel once again emerged victorious in that war, but fearful that they would not always be so capable of winning surrounded by enemies. The 1973 Yom Kippur War paved
Fue la guerra de los 6 días, ¿no? Esta madre, ¿o qué?
the way for peace between Egypt and Israel 6 years later in 1979, following the Camp David Accords negotiated by the Carter administration in the United States, in which Israel agreed to dismantle all of their settlements in the Sinai Peninsula and return it back to Egypt, in exchange for Egypt recognizing the legitimacy of Israel's statehood, which made Egypt the first country in the entire Arab world to ever do so after more than 30 years.
Que ahí fue cuando el tema ¿no? Que Egipto, o sea, el gobierno de Egipto bajó la cabeza y luego el pueblo de Egipto se rebeló y mató al presidente.
Of Israel's existence. Peace between Israel and Egypt had at last been achieved, but the peace was denounced by every other Arab state in the world, including most of all, by Syria, which by that time was under the nearly totalitarian regime of Hafez al-Assad and his brand of extremely militant secular Arab nationalism, or Ba'athism. Egypt was expelled from the Arab League for a decade over the peace agreement. Sadat himself was assassinated by Egyptian Islamist militants who believed that he was a traitor, and Syria began championing itself as the new primary backer of the Palestinian Arab cause. As more and more Palestinian refugees fled into neighboring Lebanon, that country's extremely diverse demographics began tilting ever more in favor of the Muslims, to the point where the Christians eventually became less than half of the overall population. The Lebanese Christians had generally dominated the government, and they generally sided with Israel in the Western world, while the Lebanese Sunni and Shia Muslims generally sided with the Arab and Muslim world instead, eventually culminating in the explosion of a complex and multi-sided civil war beginning in 1975 that would last for 15 years until 1990. Ba'athist Syria would invade Lebanon in 1976 and then spent years attempting to integrate and annex the country directly into Syria, based on the separation that the French had done with their map-making after
O sea, del 75 a 1990, fíjate. Hace poquito, pues. Ni tan poquito, pues, pero hace poquito.
Israel would also invade Lebanon in their attempts to fight against Palestinian forces there and secure the safety of their northern border, leading to direct Israeli and Syrian fighting in the country as well. The Israeli occupation in Lebanon would only end in 2000, while the Syrian occupation only ended in 2005. In retaliation for their worsening relationship with Syria, Israel unilaterally declared to annex the occupied territories of East Jerusalem in 1980 and the Syrian Golan Heights in 1981, setting it on the path of a permanent territorial dispute with Syria that lasts into the present day, as each side ever since has claimed that the Golan Heights is a core part of their integral territories. And at nearly the same time as these events were ongoing, a revolution exploded in Iran in 1979 that toppled the autocratic US-aligned monarchy of the Shah and replaced him with a new revolutionary theocratic regime dominated by the Iranian Shiite Muslim clergy and their leader, the Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini. The new revolutionary...
Entonces, a ver, los que eran camaradas de los gringos y quiero pensar hicieron los tratos nucleares con los gringos, fue el gobierno que estaba antes de este gobierno, pues, el Shah. Y ahora es el... ¿Qué dijo, güey?
Iran clergy and new revolutionary theocratic regime, the US-aligned monarchy of the Shah, and replaced him with a new revolutionary theocratic regime dominated by the Iranian Shiite Muslim clergy.
Antes eran los Shahs y ahora pues ya toda la gente del Shiite, los Shias.
And their leader, the Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini.
Los Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini. Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini. Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini.
The new revolutionary Iran completely changed the way the Middle East worked, because they emerged as the first truly Islamist government in the region. The new Iranian regime's Shia Islamist ideology believes and continues to believe in the concept of a grand Islamic civilization, consisting of all the Islamic peoples and territories.
Que fíjate, otro tema que me acabo de enterar, que la neta no tenía idea que existía, güey, es que estos el Islam, en general, el Islam, hay gente que lo toma más serio y hay gente que lo toma menos serio, güey. Pero, pues, los préstamos con intereses, o sea, no el préstamo, el interés, cobrar intereses, es pecado a la verga, güey. El riba, creo que así le dicen, güey. El riba, güey, o sea, los intereses son ilegales a la verga, güey. Ve pinche mosquito, güey, es que me vuelan aquí a la verga enfrente de la cara y luego ya no los veo porque pasan enfrente de la pantalla y está negra, güey. Y ya no se ve, güey. Fucking disappear. Motherfuckers.
All across the world, and that all of the...
Entonces, fue por eso que Estados Unidos había hecho un trato con ellos y luego, o sea, con estos otros, ¿o qué, güey? Porque cambió el gobierno, pues.
These Islamic territories should be united under the rule of the Islamic clergy.
Y ahora son enemigos, pues, ¿o qué?
And their supreme leader. The new revolutionary Iran was also open about their desire to export and spread their Islamic revolution, first to the Shia Muslim majority lands across the Middle East in Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, and Yemen, and then from there to the rest of the Islamic world. All of the monarchies in the Islamic world, like the Arab monarchies of Saudi Arabia and the Gulf states, were to be toppled during this revolutionary process. While Israel, in the Iranian mind a Western occupier of rightfully Islamic lands, would have to be completely destroyed. These foreign policy goals would ultimately make Iran a bitter and irreconcilable enemy of both the Israelis and also the Saudis and every other Arab monarchy across the region, in addition to the United States, all of whom wish to contain...
Que aquí fue donde es el tema. Entonces, este Irán se vuelve el enemigo. O sea, dividieron a los árabes, pues, pocas palabras. Unos árabes para un lado, o sea, unos musulmanes para un lado, otros musulmanes para otro lado, güey. El Islam extremista y el Islam más moderado a lo mejor, güey. Y los hicieron pelear a la verga entre ellos.
The Islamic Revolution within Iran and prevent it from spread.
Y armaron a los dos lados, ¿no? A ellos les dieron armas, a ellos les dieron armas, y todas las armas las vendió Estados Unidos.
Spreading any further. It also initially made Iran a terrifying enemy within Iraq, where power had just recently been seized by the Ba'athist secular Arab nationalist Saddam Hussein. Just as the revolution...
Algunas las vendió Rusia también, va, pues, pero...
in Iran was erupting. Saddam and his ruling clique of Ba'athists in Iraq came from the Sunni Arab minority of the country, from the former Ottoman
pinche bolita de mimados, güey, no
Baghdad.
sirve, güey. Y esta madre, en vez de irse para donde tiene que ir, se va para otro lado.
And he deeply feared revolutionary Iran's exportation of the Shia revolution into the Basra area of Iraq, where the...
Entonces, mi compa Saddam fue el que invadió a Kuwait. Según, con el permiso de Estados Unidos, ¿no? Y luego Estados Unidos se le hizo de pedo porque invadió a Kuwait. Que fue en los tiempos de Papá Bush. Y valieron verga. Entonces, en los tiempos de hijo Bush, pasó lo que pasó.
The majority of the population...
Papá Bush se dedicaba al petróleo. Y fue de las primeras industrias que entró aquí. Así como papá Bin Laden. Papá Bin Laden, o sea, el papá de Osama Bin Laden, fue el que construyó las primeras bases militares y pozos petroleros gringos en tierras árabes, como en Arabia Saudita y en Kuwait, por ejemplo.
were also Shia, and where the majority of Iraq's oil...
Entonces, no nomás como países y gobiernos, sino ya como empresas, estaban compitiendo directamente el presidente de Estados Unidos con el presidente de Irak, porque los dos eran petroleros.
Oil reserves were also located. Thus, determined to kill the Iranian Revolution in its cradle before it could spread, Saddam invoked the call of Arab nationalism when he decided to send the Iraqi army invading into Iran in 1980, with the stated goal of conquering the Arab-majority province of Khuzestan on the flat plain west of the Zagros Mountains, and adding its massive oil resources to his own already large...
Que es el pedo, va, güey, o sea, son países que están divididos, pues. Como todo. Como todo. Si tienes dos lados, es más fácil controlar.
Large existing Iraqi oil arsenal, and setting himself down the path as the next great aspirant to the mantle of the Arab hero who would rail against the map of the Middle East created by Sykes and Picot. But instead, the Iran-Iraq War would turn into an 8-year-long apocalypse that would claim the lives of 500,000 people and injure around 1 million more. Desperate to keep Iraq afloat as a buffer state between...
¿Te fijas? Irak, técnicamente, era aliado de Estados Unidos, y estaba peleando contra el nuevo gobierno de Irán, que se había volteado, pues.
Between themselves and the fiercely anti-monarchist and expansionist revolutionary.
Pero una cosa es la cultura y la religión y otra cosa es el petróleo y el dinero, ¿no?
Iran, who had just toppled their own monarchy, the Kuwaitis and the Saudis each lent tens of billions of dollars to Saddam in order to keep him in the fight for longer. The origin of the long-standing Saudi-Iranian Cold War.
Pinche mosquito este, le dijo su puta madre, no le di. Ahí le di. Pero la verga, güey. Pero la verga, güey.
Saudi Arabia, the fear went much deeper. You see, across the 17th and 18th centuries, Bahrain, an island in the Persian Gulf right off of the Saudi mainland, had been ruled by various dynasties coming from Persia and Iran. The British had transformed Bahrain into a protectorate of theirs only in 1861, and after it was granted independence a century later in 1971, the imperial state of Iran claimed the island as rightfully belonging to them instead. After the 1979 Islamic Revolution, the new theocratic revolutionary Iran continued the claim that Bahrain was a lost Iranian province, and that it should be returned to them, further amplified by the fact that the vast majority of Bahrain's citizens were and are Shia Muslims, but ruled by a Sunni Muslim monarchy, friendly to the fellow
Entonces habíamos dicho los sunnis eran los de la izquierda y los chias son los de la derecha, ¿no?
Sunni monarchies in Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Kuwait, and the United Arab Emirates. Bahrain is these days directly connected to Saudi Arabia by an 18-mile-long bridge. The island is these days directly...
Ibadi, eso fíjate que no lo había escuchado. O sea, los Emiratos Árabes en su mayoría son Ibadi. ¿Qué verga es Ibadi? Bueno, no lo había escuchado eso, fíjate.
Directly connected to Saudi Arabia by an 18-mile-long bridge. The island is only located about 60 kilometers away from Saudi Arabia's largest single oil field, Ghavar, only about 50 kilometers away from the headquarters of Saudi Aramco, the state oil company, and only about 80 kilometers away from Ras Tanura, which is the Saudis' largest oil export terminal.
Me quedé pensando en manejar el puente ese, güey. Está elegante.
Bahrain is placed directly off the coast of the Shia Muslim majority area of eastern Saudi Arabia, where nearly the entirety of Saudi Arabia's oil reserves and infrastructure are located. Meaning that were the Iranians to successfully export the revolution into Shia majority Bahrain...
Que aquí fue donde hicieron las primeras bases que te decía ahorita de el Papa Bush. Ahí es, Justamente.
And topple the Sunni monarchy there. The next target would be the next door Shia majority areas of eastern Saudi Arabia, which could place the entire Saudi monarchy and state into jeopardy. Thus, to prevent that from ever happening, the Saudis decided to bankroll Saddam to keep the Iranian revolution contained within just Iran. And they have worked tirelessly ever since to do whatever they can to bottle Iran up. After the Iran-Iraq War concluded in a stalemate without any changes made to the borders in 1988, Saddam requested that Kuwait forgive the $65 billion worth of loans that they had given him to fight against Iran. And after they refused, Saddam went on to utilize Iraq's theoretical historical claim to Kuwait and invaded that country next just 2 years later in 1990, annexing it and
Entonces, esta es la que decía que pidió permiso, le dijeron que sí, y luego se lo chingaron a ver que me lo chingué yo.
adding all of its own oil reserves into Iraq proper. The Iraqi conquest of Kuwait suddenly doubled the amount of oil reserves that Saddam controlled, and placed him personally in control of nearly a fifth of all the known oil reserves in the world.
Entonces, Saddam Hussein controlaba un quinto, o sea, el 20% de todo el petróleo del mundo a la verga. Directamente en contra del negocio de Papá Bush. No porque Papá Bush fuera a agarrar todo este petróleo, va, güey, pero porque eso le daba a este güey mucho poder para tomar decisiones, va, porque podía decir, ok, no quieres hacer lo que yo digo, entonces en vez de yo sacar 20 barriles en un día, voy a sacar 100 barriles en un día. Mi economía lo va a aguantar perfectamente bien, pero la de ustedes va a valer verga. Entonces fue que pues Saddam Hussein se volvió el enemigo number one.
Then, the Iraqi army began lining up on the Kuwaiti border with Saudi Arabia next, a stone's throw away from the massive oil fields in Saudi Arabia. It appeared quite obvious that Saddam was planning on using the Iraqi army to invade Saudi Arabia next and conquer their oil fields as well, which would have further boosted his control over...
Que no era el tema de Arabia Saudita, ¿verdad? Era el tema de los gringos, porque los pozos que estaban aquí eran pozos que había construido Osama Bin Laden, el papá de Osama Bin Laden, pero eran propiedad de los gringos. Entonces los gringos ponían una base militar, un aeropuerto y la verga, y ahí hacían el pozo petrolero. Entonces era una sociedad con los príncipes, los reyes de ahí, de esa zona.
Over the world supply of oil to nearly 45% of it, which would have made Saddam Hussein the master of global oil, and given him the fuel he needed to continue on with his ultimate ambition of unifying the Arab world beneath his authority and finally overturning the map drawn up by Sykes and Picot. Not willing.
Entonces, si Saddam Hussein se apoderaba del territorio para abajo, pues básicamente la mitad del petróleo del mundo iba a ser de él, personalmente, a la verga, pues. Entonces los gobiernos occidentales no podían permitirse eso, ¿no? Tenían que hacer algo al respecto.
Willing to allow any of that to happen, however, the United States gathered together a massive military coalition of 32 nations and militarily intervened against him during the Gulf War of 1990 to 91, which rapidly ejected the Iraqi military from Kuwait and liberated the nation once again. The map of Sykes and Picot was once again restored. Afterwards, the United States began fully stepping into the role as the new primary security guarantor of the Persian Gulf and its oil supplies, in order to make...
Te digo, güey, es que son bien descarados los pinches mosquitos, güey. Ese hijo de su puta madre me pasó por aquí. Lo sentí en las pestañas, lo sentí el hijo de su puta madre.
Sure that the source of half of the world's oil would remain stable and accessible. The United States Fifth Fleet was reactivated and headquartered in Bahrain, providing the U.S. with a big incentive alongside of the Saudis to keep the island out of the hands of revolutionary Iranian influence, while the United States Air Force set up a massive...
En estas fechas, los árabes, pues andaban a caballo y a camello, va, güey. O sea, sí, el príncipe, sí, el rey y la verga, lo que tú quieras, güey. Pero, como era un desierto, las monarquías que vivían en el desierto ese, pues no es que tuvieran mucho, ¿va? No es que hubiera mucha manera de defenderse, güey. Pero Estados Unidos sí necesitaba que se defendieran. Entonces tuvo que hacer negociaciones para que, ok, ¿sabes qué? No hay pedo. Déjame poner bases militares en todos estos pozos petroleros para que nadie te lo pueda invadir. Y hacemos una sociedad, no hay pedo, hacemos dinero, hacemos dinero.
New air base at Al Udeid in Qatar. Shortly after that, Jordan became the second Arab state in the world to make peace with Israel, when they recognized the Jewish state in 1994. But the increasing setbacks for secular Arab nationalism in the Middle East and the growing presence and legitimacy of the United States and Israel in the region gave rise to a new brand of Sunni Islamism in the Arab world that rivaled both the more Shia Islamism.
Entonces, para el 94, Jordania dijo, ok, pues, está bien. Te doy el pedazo que me quitaste, te lo doy a la verga.
Iran, and the secular Arab nationalist movements like Ba'athism in Iraq and Syria and the previous Nasserism.
Pero Estados Unidos, pues protégeme contra todas estas gentes, güey, que traen ideologías muy diferentes a las mías, ¿no?
In Egypt. This set the stage for new organizations like Al-Qaeda to emerge, who wanted to ignite a worldwide Islamist revolution to unite the entire Muslim world beneath a new Islamic state that would fully encompass all of the Muslim land.
Al-Qaeda, que pues era el hijo de papá Bin Laden, se volvió un personaje muy importante en este grupo.
And finally do away with the borders and terms of Sykes-Picot once and for all. This newest challenge to the map of the Middle East set by Sykes-Picot would eventually evolve even further into the form of ISIS, an even more radical Sunni Islamist organization with roots in Al-Qaeda that for a time in 2014 and 2015 exploded onto the world stage with a series of conquests across the border between Iraq and Syria, a border that had been set by Sykes-Picot a century before their time in 1916, and a border which they...
Que es el pedo, ¿va? Entre más presión le metes a la gente, pues más extrema se vuelve, ¿no?
Were adamant they were going to finally be the ones to destroy, just like many others before them, and probably like many more in the future. But unfortunately, due to the inherently violent, controversial, and recent nature of discussing how an organization as infamous as ISIS managed to catapult itself into such a position of power in the Middle East,
Me acuerdo cuando esa madre, los de ISIS, estos vatos se hicieron virales y la verga, hicieron el cagadero que hicieron, güey. Se pasaron de verga, la neta, había un chingo de videos en internet que podías ver así nomás en YouTube y la verga, que goddamn. O sea, que en los tiempos de ahorita son videos que tuvieras que ver así en la deep web y mamás así, ¿no, güey? Pero cuando pasó todo ese cagadero, en la web normal veías todo ese desmadre, güey. En YouTube, güey. En YouTube. A mí me tocó ver en YouTube videos muy pasados de verga de ese pedo. ¿Por qué razón se permitió? No te sabría decir, va, güey. Pero...
The next part of this video would almost certainly cause the rest of the video to be...
Que es, pues, o sea, la extrema, o sea, el extremismo, para cualquier lado el extremismo vale verga, güey. Entonces, esa madre fue un extremismo muy pasadito de verga, güey. Y, pues coincidió con los tiempos del internet menos censurado, güey. Estuvo muy pasadito de verga las cosas que se veían, güey. Muy pasaditas de verga, güey. Que ahorita, por ejemplo, cualquiera de esos tipos de videos, en la mayoría de las plataformas, inmediatamente se banean y te banean la cuenta y olvídate a la verga, güey. Pero en esos tiempos, pues todavía no estaba tan avanzado, ¿no, güey? Entonces, salían muchas cosas, güey. O sea, los videos de estos vatos reclutando más gente y así, güey, estaban muy
become
pasaditos de verga, güey.
demonetized and age restricted, which ultimately would mean that YouTube's algorithm would have never promoted any of this video to you, and you would probably never have seen any of it. But thankfully, I was still able.
Vale, verga, yo sí los vi, güey. El pinche algoritmo antes no estaba tan pasado de verga, güey. Yo sí los vi, todos esos pinches videos, güey. Estaban bien manchados, güey. Manchados a la verga, güey.
To produce the next part of this video anyway, because of the power of Nebula, where you can go and watch the next 40-minute part of this video, covering exactly how ISIS managed to rise to power in Iraq and Syria, and become the latest force in the Middle East seeking to overturn the results of the Sykes-Picot Agreement. And this is also just one of more than 24 exclusive, full-length real-life lore videos that you can only find on Nebula in my overall Modern Conflict series there, that can all only be found over there because of all of their dark masters. And because it's a subscription-based service, we all get
pedos a la verga, güey. Pedos a la verga, güey. Por todos lados. Pero pues es que ese es el tema, ¿no, güey? O sea, porque luego muchas veces quieres echarle la culpa a algún lado o a alguien o alguna cosa, güey. Pero ¿cuándo empiezas? ¿En qué momento de la historia de la humanidad empiezas a contar? ¿Qué versión de la historia la tomas como la verdad, güey? Siendo territorios tan viejos, con historia registrada, ¿no? Fucking chets. Fucking is chets.
They call me a